What can you say about this quote by John D. Rockefeller Jr.? Whatever you are, be a good one.
Whatever you are, be a good one. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Almost quaint. Like something you'd find stitched onto a decorative pillow in a dusty craft store or printed in a polite, cursive font on a Pinterest board. A nice little sentiment to hang above a desk to keep you motivated on a Tuesday afternoon. But John D. Rockefeller Jr., the man who said this, he wasn't talking about nice. He wasn't talking about pleasant. He was talking about the terrifying, absolute weight of potential. When I first heard this, I thought it meant, just try your best. You know, the classic participation trophy philosophy. If you're a baker, bake a decent loaf of bread. If you're a clerk, file the papers correctly. Be a good employee. Be a good neighbor. But as the years have passed, that quote has started to feel less like a pat on the back and more like a mirror. A very sharp, very unforgiving mirror. Because the word isn't nice. It's good. And in the context of what you really are, good is a high bar. To be a good one of whatever you are, you have to be excellent. You have to be authentic. You have to be present. Let's be honest. How many of us are actually being what we are? Think about it. We spend so much of our lives hiding behind placeholders. We say, I'm an accountant, but I'm really a writer. Or, I'm a parent, but I'm really an adventurer trapped in a minivan. We treat our current state of being as a waiting room. We think, I'll be a good version of myself once I get the promotion, once I lose the weight, once the kids are older, once I move to that city. But the quote doesn't say, whatever you will be a good one. It says whatever you are. Right now, it's an indictment of mediocrity through distraction. If you are a student, are you being a student? Are you inhaling the knowledge, questioning the premise, engaging with the fire of discovery? Or are you just going to school? If you are a friend, are you being a friend? Or are you just present in the text threads? It's exhausting, isn't it? To actually be something fully. It requires showing up without the mask. It requires taking the work, whatever that work is, seriously enough to actually care about the outcome. There is a profound loneliness in choosing to be a good one of something. Because to be truly good at what you are means you have to stop comparing yourself to what everyone else is. If I am an artist, and I decide to be a good one, I can't worry about the artist across town who is selling more prints than me. I have to worry about the honesty of my own brushstroke. Rockefeller didn't build an empire by being a passable industrialist. He didn't build it by checking boxes. He lived in a world of massive, crushing pressure, and he demanded that whatever he was, he had to be effective. He had to be excellent. We live in a world that thrives on us being sort of things. We are sort of informed because we read the headlines. We are sort of connected because we track our friends' lives on screens. We are sort of happy because we've bought all the right things to signal that we should be. But sort of isn't good. So what are you? Are you a listener? Then listen. Don't wait for your turn to speak. Be a good listener. Be the person who makes people feel like the only human in the room. Are you a partner? Then love. Not when it's convenient, not when the mood strikes, but with the deliberate, heavy, beautiful weight of commitment. Are you a failure? That's a hard one, isn't it? But maybe you are. Maybe you're someone who messed up. Maybe you're currently in the middle of a disaster of your own making. Well, be a good one. Own it. Don't slink away. Don't make excuses. Don't pretend it's someone else's fault. If you are going to be a person who failed, be a person who failed with integrity. Be a person who learns. Be a person who stands up and says, yes, I did that, and I am going to figure out how to be better. There is a strange, radical dignity in that. We are so afraid of being bad at things that we refuse to commit to being anything at all. We play it safe. We stay in the gray area. We stay in the I'm just doing my best zone, where best is really just what I can get away with without being fired or dumped. But when you finally commit, when you stop apologizing for what you are and start demanding of yourself the excellence that the title deserves, something shifts. The weight of the world doesn't go away. If anything, it gets heavier. But it becomes a purposeful weight. It becomes the ballast that keeps you steady in the wind. Whatever you are, be a good one. It's not a soft suggestion. It's a challenge. It's a dare. It's asking you to look at your life, look at the roles you play, the work you do, the soul you occupy, and stop sleepwalking through the middle of it. Be the thing you are. Don't be a shadow of it. Don't be a parody of it. Be the best version of the thing you are right now, in this moment, In this room, with the life you have, before time, that thief decides you don't get to be anything anymore. Whatever you are, be a good one.
Who is John D. Rockefeller Jr., by the way? Tell us more about him.
Here is a breakdown of the man behind the quote. 1. The burden and the stewardship. Born into the world's most immense fortune, Jr. grew up with an intense, almost crushing sense of responsibility. He was raised with strict religious values, Northern Baptist, that emphasized humility and the idea that wealth was not a personal prize, but a trust, a resource meant to be managed and deployed for the betterment of humanity. Where his father was a robber baron who focused on consolidating power, Jr. spent his life trying to rehabilitate the family name and reconcile that immense wealth with the public good. 2. A life of philanthropy. He didn't just give money away. He approached philanthropy with the same systematic, meticulous nature his father brought to the oil business. He personally oversaw the distribution of over $537 million, a staggering sum in his day. His reach was global and diverse. Conservation. He was a visionary for the environment. He donated the funds to purchase tens of thousands of acres that became integral parts of Grand Teton National Park and Acadia National Park. Historical preservation. He famously funded the massive restoration of colonial Williamsburg in Virginia, seeking to preserve the living history of the American foundations. Medicine and research. He was pivotal in the development of the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, now the Rockefeller University, which became a leader in modern medical science. Global landmarks. He donated the massive parcel of land in Manhattan that allowed the United Nations headquarters to be built in New York City rather than overseas. He was also the driving force behind the development of Rockefeller Center. Cultural restoration. He felt a deep connection to European heritage, funding major restorations of the Palace of Versailles and the Reims Cathedral after the devastation of World War I. 3. The human contradiction. It is important to note that he wasn't without controversy. Early in his career, he was deeply involved in the family business, and his handling of the Ludlow Massacre, a violent 1914 strike at a Colorado coal mine controlled by the Rockefellers, was a public relations disaster that haunted him. The event marked a turning point in his life. After that, he largely withdrew from active business management to focus exclusively on his philanthropic foundations. 4. The philosophy, I believe. Jr. is perhaps best understood through his own words. In 1941, he gave a famous radio address outlining his personal creed, which included lines like, "I believe that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity, an obligation, every possession, a duty." This captures exactly why he lived by the quote, "Whatever you are, be a good one." He felt that if you occupied a role, whether as a son, a steward of wealth, or a citizen, you had an absolute moral obligation to perform that role with excellence, integrity, and purpose. He wasn't just a rich man. He was a man who spent his entire life trying to prove that he was good enough to justify the extraordinary position he was born into.
What can we learn from him?
Here is what we can learn from his journey. 1. The principle of stewardship. Rockefeller Jr. didn't view his wealth or his influence as his own. He viewed it as a trust. He believed that whatever resources you have, be it money, talent, time, or social capital, you are merely a steward of them. The lesson: ask yourself, what has been entrusted to me? Whether you are a parent, a creator, or an employee, you are responsible for how those resources are used. Impact comes from realizing that your assets are not just for your comfort, but for the cultivation of your environment. 2. Radical accountability. After the tragedy of the Ludlow Massacre, Jr. could have retreated into denial or shielded himself behind his advisors. Instead, he took the public, stinging criticism to heart and fundamentally changed his life's path toward philanthropy. The lesson: mistakes are data. Instead of wasting energy defending your ego, use your failures as a pivot point. Being a good one means having the courage to admit when you are failing and the discipline to change course. 3. Systematic execution. He was a master of institutional philanthropy. He didn't just write checks. He built foundations, professionalized his charitable work, and ensured his efforts had long-term sustainability. The lesson: intentions are nice, but systems are effective. If you want to be good at something, whether it's your podcast, your personal development, or your advocacy, build a framework around it. Consistency, strategy, and long-term thinking beat sporadic bursts of passion every time. 4. The value of living history. His investment in places like Colonial Williamsburg showed he valued continuity. He believed that to move forward, society needs to understand its roots, preserving the beauty and the lessons of the past. The lesson: respect your foundations. Whether it's your family history, your early career struggles, or your core values, anchoring yourself in where you came from gives you the stability to build something durable for the future. 5. Integrity in public versus private life. Despite being one of the most famous men in the world, he was notoriously private and lived by a strict, almost ascetic moral code. He didn't live for the fame of being a Rockefeller. He lived for the utility of being a Rockefeller. The lesson: the most sustainable way to live is to be the same person in private that you are in public. When your internal values align perfectly with your external actions, you stop wasting energy on performance and start focusing entirely on contribution.